The watchtower hung over Earth like a silent silver ring. Inside, alarms turned that silence into sharp red light. Superman moved before the second alarm finished its tone. He crossed the command deck in a blur, cape snapping behind him. Space outside the main window looked wrong. Stars bent. A purple crack hung over the planet, opening wider every second. Cyborg's voice came from the console. "This isn't any boom tube, I know. Energy pattern is new and bad." Batman stood at the edge of the glass, jaw tight behind the cowl. "Source?" "Nowhere," Cyborg said. "And everywhere. It's like this space is being pulled toward another point, like gravity with no mass." Superman's eyes glowed faint red as he focused on the rift. He could hear things in the static, voices, heartbeats that did not belong to this world. A low, distant pressure pushed against his skin, even through the hull. John stepped forward, brow furrowed. "There is a mind on the other side," he said softly. "Or many minds, layered on top of each other, curious, hungry." Behind them, the Flash bounced on his heels. "Awesome. So, weird hole in space, nothing we've seen before, creepy mind whispers. 10 out of 10. Would not recommend." The rift flared. Without a word, Superman flew straight through the glass. It parted around him in a ring of tiny shards, frozen in the air by his speed. In a blink, he was outside, alone in the black, between Earth and the crack in reality. Heat vision lanced from his eyes, not to destroy, but to trace the edges of the tear. He felt the way it tugged on his beam, twisting light into spirals. "Careful," Batman's voice came through the comm in his ear. "We don't know what happens if you punch it." "I don't plan to punch it," Superman said. "I plan to hold it." He pressed his hands against the rift. It felt like pushing into ice and fire at the same time. Space shivered around his fingers. For a moment, the crack stopped growing. Then it fought back. A shockwave hit him. It threw him back into the shadow of the watchtower. The whole station groaned. Lights across the spine flickered. Metal screamed. Cyborg swore. "The rift just grabbed onto us. It's pulling us in." On the bridge, everyone lurched as gravity twisted. The stars outside spun. The earth stretched, then snapped out of view like someone had turned off the sky. Batman slammed a hand down on the emergency protocols. "Brace for translation. Flash, get everyone strapped." The floor dropped away. Light swallowed them. Z-City's sky tore open with no warning. People in the busy streets stopped. Phones lifted. Fingers pointed. A long, bright scar stretched across the blue, glowing purple and white. Pieces of burning metal fell out like sparks from a broken firework. On a side street, Saitama stepped out of his small apartment building with an empty, reusable bag in his hand. He stared up. "Oh," he said. A chunk of something big and silver broke off from the falling mess. It tumbled toward the city, spinning. Smaller pieces sprayed off it. Each one was large enough to crush a building. Saitama looked at his watch. The sale at the supermarket started in 20 minutes. The store was on the other side of Z-City. The sky disaster sat right in his path. He sighed. "Of course," he muttered. "Every time there's a big sale, something stupid falls from the sky." A burst of orange flame shot past him, close enough to ruffle his yellow suit. Genos launched himself down the street, rockets blasting from his back. "Sensei, stay back. I will investigate the anomaly." Saitama watched his disciple rise into the air, a thin line of fire under him. Yeah, he said. "Don't be late for dinner." High above the city, the air popped. The watchtower appeared for a single instant, half shredded, then blew apart. Large sections broke loose. One huge ring spun end over end, heading straight for a cluster of office towers. A red and blue streak slammed into it. Superman put his shoulder into the falling section, muscles tensing. Heat brushed his cheeks from re-entry. Below him, he heard thousands of heartbeats speeding up at once. It's not Earth, he realized in a flash. The air smelled different. The gravity felt slightly off. The heartbeat patterns were not the ones he knew. We've moved. Behind him, the rest of the League came through the fading light well. Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, Cyborg, and Batman riding in a small escape craft launched from the broken station. Priorities, Batman's voice said in his ear. Stop the debris. Then we find out where we are. Superman pushed. The broken ring slowed, metal creaking. He eased it away from the tallest buildings, then down toward an empty lot. Lantern's emerald light wrapped smaller pieces, pulling them into safe orbits. Flash blurred along rooftops, scooping people up and dropping them at safer distances. Aquaman landed in a crashing wave, calling water from ruptured mains to smother fires before they spread. From a rooftop, Gino stopped, shocked. His sensors scanned the red-caped stranger holding that massive structure like it was nothing. Power readings spiked past his known ranges. That man, his strength is at least S-class. Maybe beyond, Genos muttered. He turned his head. Another heat source stood on a much closer rooftop, watching too. Saitama scratched his cheek. What's with the cosplay convention? Saitama said out loud. Red cape, green glow, fish guy. Must be a busy day. He watched Superman place the giant ring down with careful control. Dust and smoke rose. The cape settled around the stranger's boots. To Saitama, the man looked almost normal, just very clean. Genos flew over to join the cluster of new heroes in the sky. Feet touching nothing, Superman hovered and held up a hand to show he meant no harm. Everyone okay down there? He called, voice carrying like a calm shout across the city. Saitama waved lazily. Batman's escape pod opened on a nearby rooftop. He stepped out into the wind, cape snapping, lenses narrowing as he looked from the strange city to the odd signs to the bald man in a cheap hero suit. New world, Batman said in a low voice, more to himself than to anyone else. New rules. John stepped beside him, eyes distant. There is a mind watching this place, he murmured. But there is something else too. A void that is not empty. Right, there. His gaze landed on Saitama. Saitama yawned. Batman marked him in his mental list. Unknown, unreadable, potentially very dangerous. Down on the street, the clock on a shop front flipped forward 1 more minute. Saitama checked the time again and frowned. If they don't wrap this up soon, he thought, all the good cabbage will be gone. The tear in the sky thinned, but did not fully close. The emergency meeting room inside the Hero Association building was small and tense. Sitch stood at the front, hands on the table, as the big screen showed replay after replay of the sky tearing open. In each clip, the same images appeared. The purple crack, the burning metal, the unknown caped figures stopping the fall like it was nothing. This is not a standard meteor event, Sitch said. His voice shook a little, but he kept going. Our satellites recorded a complete disappearance of an object in orbit. Not ours. It appeared for 1 frame, then exploded. These individuals emerged from the blast. An old executive pushed his glasses up his nose. Are they monsters? Aliens? New heroes? They call themselves heroes, Sitch said. He tapped a button, and grainy audio filled the room. Superman, asking if everyone was okay. Gino shouting about unknown heroes. Civilians cheering. On another screen, a live feed showed the red-caped man helping repair a damaged building frame with one hand, talking calmly with fire crews. Our S-class heroes did not arrive in time to stop the initial fall, Sitch said. We can frame this. We can make them partners. Or we can paint them as a threat. But we have to decide fast. A slim woman with a cool smile leaned back in her chair. New heroes from the sky are good news, she said. We can sell that, raise public trust, extra donations. Another exec shook his head. Or they steal our spotlight. Sponsors like strong faces. If people start worshipping Skymen, our heroes lose value. Sitch pointed at the power charts. Value or not, look at this. The red-caped one held a structure that weighed more than any building we have on file. The green construct hero stopped 28 large fragments at once, and the fast one evacuated 6 city blocks in 30 seconds. These are not B-class clowns. There was a knock on the door. An aide hurried in and bowed. Sir, the unknown heroes are at the front desk, she said. With Genos. They want to talk. The room went silent. Good, the PR woman said, smoothing her jacket. Let's greet our guests. Superman stood at the center of a white marble lobby and tried not to loom. The Hero Association Tower looked new and shiny. Big windows, tall ceilings, a giant symbol on the wall behind the reception desk. It reminded him a bit of the Hall of Justice back home, but more like a company than a monument. People in suits rushed past. Some stared. Others talked into headsets. Posters of different heroes covered one wall, with big letters and ranks printed next to them. A few feet away, the Flash whispered to Cyborg, "They have hero trading cards. That's new." Victor's cybernetic eye scanned the posters. They also have a danger scale, evacuation drills, and a call center routing coded threats. This is a whole hero bureaucracy. Batman, silent, took it all in. He watched the cameras, the guards, the placements of exits, the small frown on Superman's face. Gino stood at the front of their group, arms at his side. He had introduced them as interdimensional heroes with a very straight face. Now, Sitch approached with a small group of executives and 2 heroes in costume. S-Class Rank 3, Silver Fang, Genos said quietly, nodding at the white-haired old man in a martial arts uniform. The old man smiled and bowed to the League. "Welcome," Bang said. "Our world's safety owes you thanks already." Next to him, a short woman in a black dress floated slightly above the floor, green hair curling around her face. She looked at them with open irritation. "And this is S-Class Rank 2, Tornado of Terror," Sitch added quickly. "She is powerful and busy." Tatsumaki crossed her arms. "So these are the aliens," she said. "They better not be weaker than they look. That would be boring." Wonder Woman stepped forward, extending a hand. "I am Diana of Themyscira," she said. "We are not here to conquer. A storm pulled us across realities. Our first goal is to help." Tatsumaki floated higher instead of taking her hand. "We didn't ask you to help," she said. "But if you can keep up, maybe you won't get in the way." Superman hid a smile. He was used to pride. "I'm Superman," he said. "We answer calls for help, whatever the world looks like, and this city needed help." Sitch stepped in to smooth things. "We are grateful," he said. "Please, come to our conference hall. We should exchange information as fast as we can." As they walked down the hall, Cyborg caught Batman's eye. "You saw that power spike, right?" Victor murmured. "The floating girl, the old man, they're no joke." "I saw," Batman said. "This world has its own heavy hitters. And its own rules, John said, watching a group of mid-ranked heroes by the snack machines with some curiosity. They live by rank and pay, not by symbols. They entered a large briefing room, screens in every corner, a big round table, name tags already printed for the new arrivals, which told Batman their hosts were always ready to brand things. As they sat, a voice drifted in from the hall. "Sorry, am I late? I got held up at the, Saitama stepped through the door, still in his simple yellow suit, cape a bit wrinkled. His grocery bag was empty and folded under his arm. The guard at the door frowned. "You again. This is for higher level heroes. Please wait outside." Saitama blinked. "But you called heroes in, right? I'm a hero." "You're C-class," the guard said. "This is S-class and above. Please don't waste our time." The door started to close in his face. Superman watched this, eyebrows raised. He remembered seeing Saitama on the rooftop earlier. There had been something strange in the way the man stood there, like the air around him did not quite know what to do. "Excuse me," Superman said. "He helped during the fall, didn't he?" The guard hesitated. "Well, maybe with a small monster." Saitama scratched his head. "It was just some big crab thing. No big deal." Diana looked from Saitama to the ranking board on the wall. "How do you rank your heroes?" she asked. Sitch hurried to explain. "We have a system, CBAS," he said. "It is based on skill, results, and certain other factors." Tatsumaki snorted. "It's based on how useful they are," she said, "and some luck. This bald guy is fine where he is. We don't need more fools in S-class." Bang's eyes stayed on Saitama a second longer, thoughtful. "Still," he said, "we can thank any hero for their help. Young man, you said you were held up at something." Saitama looked at the floor. "Just a sale," he said. "Doesn't matter. It's probably over." Superman felt a small twist in his chest. He knew what it was like to miss simple things because of big events. Movies with Lois, quiet dinners, a walk through a fair. "Maybe we can help you catch the next one," he said lightly. Saitama shrugged. "If the sky doesn't explode again, sure." Batman watched Saitama's posture, the relaxed shoulders, the easy way he let insults roll off him. People like that were either very weak or very, very dangerous. He added another question mark to the mental file. On the other side of the city, far from the polite talks, a drone hovered in the smoke of the fallen watchtower debris. Metal Knight symbol flashed on its side. Bofoi watched the live feed from his private bunker, surrounded by screens. Data poured past his glasses. Energy readings of the rift. Metal samples from the alien station. Traces of Kryptonian DNA from a tiny smear on a broken panel. "Interesting," he said. "A world with heroes strong enough to cross dimensions, and a building full of advanced technology." One hand moved across a keyboard. Orders went out to more drones, salvage, scan, steal. In another broken chunk of the watchtower, hidden under a tarp in a corner of the association's temporary storage, a small emergency lab flickered to life. Lex Luthor coughed as he pushed a cracked metal plate off his chest. His battle suit sparked, damaged but not dead. Alarms blared in his helmet, telling him about new air mix, new gravity, new magnetic fields. He smiled. "So," he said, speaking to no one, "a new Earth." Outside, he could hear heroes talking about ranks and points. He heard the word association. He heard the name Superman from a distant TV screen and felt the old anger flex in his chest. "Let's see what this world can offer me," Lex muttered. He reached for a small case at his belt. Inside lay a shard of crystal from the rift. It pulsed faintly, as if happy to be here. He closed the case again. Step 1, he thought. Watch. Learn. Do not reveal yourself until you know the board. Later, in a smaller room set aside for them, the Justice League sat around a plain table. The windows showed a slice of Z City, still being repaired. Superman leaned forward. We need to decide how we operate here, he said. We saved lives today. That matters. But this world isn't ours. Their system is rotten, Batman said. They rank heroes and sell them like products. That kind of setup can be turned by fear or money. Fast. But they do respond when monsters attack, Wonder Woman said. Their people are alive because of it. The system is flawed, but it works under pressure. Cyborg put a map on the table. Lines and numbers layered over the city. They have threat levels. They have a network. We don't. If we want to help, we plug in. For now. Flash kicked his feet up. So we're like the weird new kids joining the club. Out-of-town heroes. Guest stars. We also caused a big event in their sky, John said calmly. Even if it was not our choice. That will draw attention. And not only from monsters. Speaking of attention, Batman said, there is another problem. The bald hero, Saitama. John? The Martian closed his eyes for a moment, remembering the strange feeling. He is quiet, John said slowly. His mind does not shine like the others. It is simple. He thinks about food, rent, sales, his disciple. But under that, something else, like standing at the edge of an endless hole. No bottom. That's not reassuring, Flash said. Superman thought of Saitama's small, tired eyes. He doesn't seem interested in power, he said. That counts. It counts, Batman answered, until it doesn't. People change. Pressure changes them. We need information. We need to see him fight, for real. A soft hum passed through the room. John stiffened. The light dimmed for a second, then returned. Did you feel that? He asked. Nobody else had. There is something under this world, the Martian said quietly. Watching, waiting, and it noticed us when we came through the rift. Superman's hands curled on the table. Then we have two jobs, he said. Help this world fight monsters, and find out who or what is looking at us like prey. Flash dropped his chair back onto all four legs. Great, he said. New world, new monsters, new creepy cosmic stalker. Totally normal week. Despite his joke, a thin line of worry sat behind his grin. The first sign of the monster surge came 3 days later. Sitch stared at the screen as red dots filled the map. 1 or 2 meant tiger-level threats. A cluster meant demon. This many, spreading across coastlines and cities, meant something worse. All across the country, he whispered. This can't be random. On the main alert channel, a computer voice repeated the same words. Multiple dragon-level threats detected. All S-Class heroes report. All S-Class heroes report. He hit the emergency button for their new guests. Justice League, Sitch said into the line. We have a situation. Superman flew over a line of dark clouds, listening. Screams, breaking concrete. Roars that shook the air. The scent of chemical fire. He heard all of it at once. Below him, a monster taller than a skyscraper hauled itself out of the bay. It looked like a massive armored turtle, with buildings stuck in its shell. Each step sent waves rolling over docks. Bang leaped from a rooftop beside him, body bent like a drawn bow. I will take the legs, the old master said. My style can find the weak points. Superman nodded. I'll keep it away from the city. He shot down, a blue streak against grey sky. His shoulder hit the monster's head with a boom. The impact rocked the beast back, water spraying. Glass shattered in nearby towers. The creature roared and swung a claw the size of a house. Superman caught it. His boots ploughed through midair, pushing against nothing. Muscles strained, but held. "You're strong," he thought, "but you're not that strong." Below, Bang danced forward on pieces of wreckage. Each step was light. His fists moved in quick, precise strikes against joints and softer spots between plates. Every hit sent a small shockwave through the monster's leg. He smiled as he worked. To think I would be trading blows next to a man from another universe, Bang thought. Even at my age, the world still has surprises. On a different front, Flash raced through a burning city street. Genos and Cyborg behind him. Flash skidded to a stop, leaving a trail of sparks. "Okay," he called over the noise. Giant sludge lizard up front, spider tank on the left, swarm of flying eyeball things above. "I'll handle evac. You two play who can blow up the most gross stuff." Genos' arms opened along hidden seams. Heat built in his palms. "Understood," he said. Cyborg's arm morphed into a cannon, crackling with bright energy. "Don't get melted, Tin Man," he said. They opened fire together. Twin beams carved up the street. The sludge monster howled as chunks of its body boiled away. The spider tank tried to adapt, armor plates shifting, but Cyborg adjusted his output mid-shot, matching the new frequency. He smiled grimly. "You're not the only one who can upgrade on the fly," he told the machine. Above them, the flying monsters dove. Flash blurred up walls and across windows, snatching civilians out of danger and dropping them in a safe square that Green Lantern had boxed off with a glowing dome. "Man, your world has some ugly bugs," Flash said, lightning crackling around him as he vibrated through a collapsing wall. In another city, Wonder Woman fought back-to-back with Tatsumaki. Diana's sword flashed in clean arcs, slicing through a snake-like monster made of metal cables. Each cut was sharp, controlled. Blood and sparks flew, but her eyes stayed calm. Tatsumaki floated above the rubble like an angry comet. Her green hair whipped in a wind only she felt. "Stop swinging that toy and let me handle this," she said. She lifted her hand. The entire snake creature jerked into the air. It twisted, trying to break free. Tatsumaki's face showed no strain. She tightened her fingers. The monster crumpled into a dense ball of metal, then crashed to the ground with a heavy thud. Diana raised an eyebrow. "Impressive," she said. "Of course it's impressive," Tatsumaki snapped. "I did it." She turned her attention to a swarm of smaller creatures. Buildings shook as she ripped chunks of stone from their foundations to use as shields and weapons. Diana winced when one wall fell too close to a cluster of civilians. "We must be careful," Wonder Woman said. "These people are not as durable as we are." "Then they should have moved faster," Tatsumaki said. But she shifted her next throw to block a falling piece of ceiling before it hit anyone. All across the map, heroes and League members fought. Aquaman wrestled a huge eel beast in a stormy harbor, calling sharks and whales to ram it from below. Green Lantern held up a crumbling bridge, while lower-ranked heroes guided people across. Even with all that power, the monsters kept coming. And then the air itself changed. John floated high above the chaos, eyes closed, mind spread wide. He felt fear, bravery, confusion. Then he felt something new, a cold tap at the edge of his thoughts. He turned his senses toward it. The tap became a hand. It reached for him, for all of them. It was not one mind. It was a single will poured into many voices. "You are new," the voices said inside his head. "You do not belong, but you are useful." He gasped and put up psychic walls, pushing the presence away. Down below, a single monster stopped moving mid-attack. It shuddered. Its skin darkened. Eyes burned with a strange purple light. The air around it bent like heat waves. Kal-El, John sent, his mental voice urgent. There is one. Different. Superman turned his head toward the signal. The giant turtle monster, now half dead from their blows, began to change. Its wounds closed. Its shell cracked open and regrew in a new shape, sharper and blacker. Energy crackled between its plates, purple like the rift had been. Its roar now carried a second echo, like something else was speaking through its throat. This is new, Superman said. He dropped down in front of it. Bang landed beside him, stance low. Feels bad, the old man murmured. Heavy, like the air before a bad storm. The monster raised a foot, and the footprint shockwave that followed was no longer just physical. Space itself warped in a small circle. Buildings nearby bent for a second, then snapped back. People screamed as streets twisted under them. Superman darted forward to draw its attention. He drove a fist into its chest. The impact could have leveled a mountain. The monster reeled, but did not fall. Instead, a dark shape bulged under its flesh where the punch landed. The purple light flared. The creature laughed in a voice that was not its own. You hit harder than they do, it said in a deep, echoing tone. Good. Superman frowned. He was used to things surviving his strikes. But the way this thing reshaped itself around his blow, that was wrong. I don't know who you are, he said, but you're not staying in control. The monster swung both claws. Bang darted under one, his fists a blur of strikes at key tendons. Superman grabbed the other and flew upward, dragging the monster with him. They crashed through clouds. The city shrank below them. The monster bit at him. Purple energy blasted from its mouth. Superman took the blast on his chest, gritting his teeth. It hurt, not like kryptonite, just raw, bending force. He pushed back. Below, on the ground, a small figure in a yellow suit walked through cracked streets, stepping over rubble. Saitama looked up at the fight. So they got a big one this time, he said. He scratched his ear. Still not as big as that one from last year. What was it? A big starfish thing. He had gone out this morning with a clear goal. The sale flyer on his fridge had promised half-price meat at a store across the city. Then his phone buzzed with a monster alert. Then the whole world started shaking. He had knocked out 3 dragon-level threats without really thinking about it on his way here. None of them had been satisfying. Now, a weird fight lit the sky above him. He checked his watch. He still had some time before the sale ended. If he went around this mess, he might make it. Another blast from above hit a nearby building. Debris rained down. People ran. A chunk of glowing purple energy shot toward the ground like a comet. Saitama sighed. Fine, he said. Just one more. He hopped up onto a tall ruin. Dust puffed under his sandals. From here, he had a clear view. Superman and the monster crashed down again, carving a trench through abandoned lots. Purple energy built around the beast's jaws, forming a tight beam aimed at the city center. Saitama tilted his head. That looks annoying, he thought. He crouched, then launched himself forward. To Superman, a blur joined the fight from the side. A human shape in yellow shot past him, fist aimed not at the monster's body, but at the energy blast itself. Saitama's punch connected with the beam. For a second, it was like 2 storms met. Shockwaves ran out in circles. The light warped, then folded in on itself. The beam vanished. The air went still. Clouds above ripped apart in straight lines. The monster jerked. The purple glow in its eyes flickered. Somewhere far away, John felt a sharp scream inside his mind, like feedback. The thing inside the monster pulled back. "Interesting," the echoing voice said. "Thin now. Very interesting." The monster's body tried to regenerate again, but this time, the tissue around Saitama's impact point refused to rebuild. It crumbled like dry sand. Superman hovered, stunned. He had felt many powers: magic, kryptonite, dimensional energy. But he had never felt something so clean, so straightforward. A simple punch that told the universe, no. Saitama landed lightly. His cape fluttered once, then rested. "Hey," he said, "can we finish this fast? I'm kind of in a hurry." Bang's eyes were wide. He saw now what he had only guessed before. So, he thought, this is the true weight behind that plain face. The monster tried one last wild attack. It swung a claw down at the small hero. Saitama did not even look at it. He stepped in and tapped the limb with a straight punch. The arm exploded in a line. The rest of the body followed, ripping apart in a huge cloud of dust and energy. The purple glow tore free as a small core, a burning chunk of dark light. It shot upward, away from the city, screaming without sound. Superman tensed to chase it, but John's voice echoed in his mind. "Let it go," the Martian said. "For now. We forced it to retreat. It will be back. But we now know it can be hurt." Superman watched the tiny star disappear into the upper sky. He did not like letting any threat escape, but he also knew pushing into unknown space alone might be a trap. He turned back to Saitama. "Thank you," he said. "You saved a lot of people." Saitama waved a hand. Yeah, he said. "You hit it a lot first, so I guess we're even." He looked at the ruined city, then at his watch. Great, he thought. I bet the store is closed now. Nearby, unseen by any of them, a small drone hovered in the shadow of a cracked tower. It caught every frame of Saitama's punch. Metal Knight's voice hummed through its systems. "Power without clear source," he said. "Impact that cancels exotic energy. Very dangerous, very valuable." In a hidden lab, Lex Luthor replayed the same footage from his own hacked tap on the Association feed. He froze the screen on Saitama's bored face. "A man who can swat away godlike beams," Lex murmured. "And no one in this world seems to know what he really is." He smiled thinly. "Hello, Baldy," he said. "Let's see how long you stay a secret." In the days after the surge, the whole world talked about the foreign heroes and the strange bald man who had ended the worst of it with a single punch. On talk shows and news feeds, people argued. Were the Sky Heroes the cause or the cure? Were they a gift or a new kind of threat? Why did the Hero Association talk so little about the bald one? Inside the association, executives studied numbers and public sentiment. S-class heroes traded stories. Some boasted. Others, like Bang, stayed quiet, thinking of the feeling of Saitama's power. Inside the temporary League base, Batman added a new symbol to his board. Saitama, unknown power, unknown limit, potential link to the cosmic voice. Superman stood at the window, watching the city lights. We changed this world by arriving, he thought. But maybe this world was already changing, with or without us. Somewhere above and below them, in a place John could sense but not see, the God presence adjusted its plans. It had reached across once, through monsters and a borrowed shell. It had met resistance. It had met something that could cancel its touch. Now it knew there were two interesting pieces on this board. The man of steel, and the man with the empty eyes and the unstoppable punch, who only wanted cheap groceries and a quiet life. It smiled, in whatever way such a thing could smile, and waited for the next move. The news host smiled too wide for the day she was having. Behind her, the screen played the same shaky footage again and again. A giant monster in the bay, Superman slamming into it, the purple light, the bald man's single punch that turned the attack into dust. Once again, she said, we bring you exclusive analysis of the Sky Heroes and the mysterious low-ranked hero some viewers are calling Bald Cape. On split screens, guest argued. A man in a cheap suit pointed at a chart. Look at the numbers. Monsters are stronger than ever. Then these people show up from another world. You expect me to believe that's a coincidence? A woman in glasses shook her head. We would all be dead if they hadn't been here. The Hero Association alone couldn't stop that many dragon-level threats at once. You want to blame the people who saved you? A third guest laughed nervously. I just want to know why my taxes keep going up when we have gods flying around. Saitama watched from his couch with a half-open bag of chips in his lap. He wore his usual plain t-shirt and shorts. The cheap TV flickered. The sound quality was bad. It made the yelling voices crack a little. They really like talking. Huh, he said. Jano stood near the window, arms crossed. He had rewound the footage 3 times silently before Saitama gave up and let him have the remote. Sensei, Jano said, they captured your punch. Yeah. Saitama popped another chip in his mouth. It was a pretty normal punch. It was not normal, Genos said. You neutralized an exotic energy beam and forced an entity linked to this world's god figure to retreat. This footage proves your power is beyond any S-class. Saitama shrugged. Still didn't make the sale, he said, so I don't see the point. Janos turned to him, metal fingers curling. You do not care that the world saw your strength. Saitama thought about it. The TV showed a grainy close-up of his face, zoomed in until the pixels blurred. Someone had drawn glowing eyes on top in a meme. I care that the store ran out of meat, he said. People on TV can say whatever. He leaned back and stared at the ceiling. Lately, it felt like he was even more bored than before. The monsters were stronger. Their energy felt weird now, like someone had dipped them in the same purple mess that had ripped the sky open. But inside, the fight still ended the same way. One punch, done. It should have felt good to hit something that tied back to that creepy god on the moon, but it had just felt like swatting a bug. Maybe it's me, he thought. Maybe I got too strong. Janos picked up the remote again. The Hero Association is downplaying your role, he said. They keep saying the combined efforts of all heroes stopped the wave. They barely say your name. Yeah, that's fine, Saitama said. He did not say the other part, that a tiny piece of him had hoped someone would finally look at him and say, that guy's the strongest. He pushed that thought away. It never led anywhere good. His phone buzzed on the table. C-Class Hero Saitama, the alert read. Thank you for your cooperation during the recent event. Please remain available for further low-level assignments. Your rank points have increased by 3. Wow, Saitama said. 3 points. So generous. Genos's fist tightened. This is an insult, he said. I will speak to the association. Saitama waved him down. Don't bother, he said. It's not like higher rank makes monsters more fun. He glanced back at the screen. Superman stood in one clip, giving a short talk in front of the association building. He spoke about courage, teamwork, and protecting people. His voice was calm and certain. People in the crowd behind him held up signs. Some had drawn the League's logos. Others had drawn question marks. Must be nice, Saitama thought, to say stuff and have people listen. He reached for another chip. The bag was empty. He stared into the crumpled plastic for a second, then dropped it and stood up. "I'm going to get snacks," he said. "Sensei, monsters may still appear," Genos said. "The association warned about possible aftershocks." "I'll punch them if they get between me and the store," Saitama said. "Same as always." As he left, the TV host shouted over her guests, "And if the Hero Association won't give us straight answers about Bald Cape, then what else are they hiding?" The door clicked shut. Silence filled the little apartment. Genos looked at the empty chip bag, then at the screen, then at the door where his teacher had gone. He made a decision. "I cannot let Sensei carry this weight alone," he thought. "If this godlike being returns, we must be ready." He turned off the TV and headed out to find his own answers. The Hero Association's top board meeting was not going well. "We must market them," the PR woman said, tapping the table with a pen. "The Sky Heroes. It's perfect. We can announce a formal alliance, issue a joint logo, sell merchandise." "Focus," Sitch snapped. He looked more tired than usual, paperwork bags under his eyes. If this attack was tied to the rift, then whoever is behind that knows where we are now, and we don't know when they'll strike again. On the screen, a map of the country glowed red in dozens of spots where monsters had appeared. Many were now dark again, marked with green dots where they had been handled. Others still pulsed. An older executive adjusted his glasses. "We have survived dragon-level threats before," he said. "We have S-class heroes. Now we also have off-worlders. This is not all bad news." "This is not like before," Sitch said. He zoomed in on a recording. "Look." The moment of change played again. The injured monster, the purple surge, the strange, echoing voice. "It's the same energy as the rift," Sitch said. "And after this, upgrade. It adapted. It took a hit from someone as strong as Superman and kept going." The room went quiet. "We can't tell people that," the PR woman said at last. "Panic would be worse than any monster." "We also cannot pretend we have control," Sitch answered. "We need help. Their help." "Fine," she said. "So we make the alliance official. We put Superman's face on posters and say the world is safer than ever. People will be scared, but they will buy into hope." "And what about the bald one?" another exec asked. "Do we promote him too, or keep him small?" All eyes turned to that question. Sitch hesitated. "If we raise his profile, we must explain why he was only C-class," he said. "Our system will look foolish. Donors may ask why they fund us if we cannot even rank power correctly." "But if we keep him low," the PR woman said, "someone else will find him, use him, or expose us." The old man with glasses cleared his throat. "Perhaps," he said carefully. "We use him as a surprise factor. We don't advertise. We don't ignore. We watch, quietly, and we make sure he stays on our side. And if he doesn't," someone whispered. No one answered. A staffer knocked and stuck her head in. "Excuse me," she said. "The League is here for the joint briefing." The PR woman's smile snapped back into place. "Showtime," she said. The conference hall was full. Dozens of heroes sat in rows, some S-class, many A and B. Screens showed scenes from the monster wave. Association staff stood along the walls with clipboards and tablets. At the front, Sitch introduced the guests. "Today," he said, "we welcome the Justice League, heroes from another world, who fought beside us against the recent dragon-level surge." Polite applause filled the room. Some heroes clapped harder than others. A few crossed their arms. Superman stepped up to the podium. His eyes swept over the crowd. There were faces full of awe, boredom, skepticism. He knew that look. He had seen it in many worlds, even if this was his first time in a literal new one. "Thank you," he said. "We didn't choose to come here. A tear in space pulled us across, but we did choose what to do once we arrived." He glanced back at a clip on the screen, the falling metal, the monster rising from the bay, Z City in panic. "We chose to help," he said simply. "We will keep making that choice while we are here." He spoke about teamwork, about sharing information, about how their world had also faced gods, monsters, and things that seemed unstoppable. He did not downplay the danger, but he did not promise miracles either. "We are strong," he said. "So are many of you, but no one is strong enough to stand alone forever, not against everything." Some heroes nodded, others shifted in their seats. When he finished, the applause felt more real. Then Tatsumaki floated up, uninvited, and took the mic. "I have something to say too," she announced. Sitch winced, but it was too late. Tatsumaki glared at the rows of heroes. "Don't get lazy just because some aliens showed up," she snapped. "You think you can just sit back and let capes from another world do your job? If you do, I'll drop you from a very high place." A nervous laugh ran through the room. She lifted a hand. A few chairs rose into the air, with startled heroes still in them. She dropped them again with a thud. "We have strong enemies," she went on. "Stronger than before. That just means we smash them harder. Got it?" She shoved the mic back at Superman. "Say whatever Boy Scout things you want," she muttered. "Just don't hold back in a fight." She floated away. Superman hid another small smile. Different leadership tactics, he thought. He stepped aside to let Batman talk next. Bruce did not take the podium. He stood slightly in front of it, cape still. "We need data," he said. "We need patterns. These monsters weren't random. They were pushed, upgraded." He looked at the association staff. "We will give you our threat analysis protocols," he said. "In return, we want full access to your past monster records, especially anything linked to gods." The word hung in the air. Some heroes murmured, others flinched. Bang's face grew serious. He had seen that cult on the mountain. He had seen that strange cube long before today. He knew the rumors. Sitch nodded slowly. "We can arrange that," he said. "Within reason." "Reason is fine," Batman said. "Blindness is not." He stepped back. The meeting moved on to rosters, joint patrols, and signal codes. In the back row, Fubuki watched carefully. She saw how the League moved together, how they filled each other's gaps, how they argued but still trusted one another. She also saw the way Tatsumaki rolled her eyes and cracked her knuckles every time someone mentioned rules or plans. This could go very wrong, Fubuki thought, or very right. She decided she would not wait to find out by accident. Later, in a smaller side room, Fubuki stood across from Superman and Wonder Woman. "I lead my own group," she said. "The Blizzard Group. We handle mid-level threats, but we also manage information. There are things the association ignores or hides." Diana studied her face. "You think they're making mistakes?" she asked. "I know they are," Fubuki said. "They chase popularity, sponsors. That means they don't always send the right person to the right crisis. They send the face people like instead." Superman thought of some members of the Justice League International, of how governments and boards back home sometimes wanted a marketable hero for a mission, not the best one. It was a familiar problem. "We are not here to overthrow your system," he said, "but if there are cracks that put people at risk, we want to help patch them." Fubuki's eyes softened. Good answer, she said. Then here is some free intel. There are rumors of a cult, people who worship God itself. They chase cubes that grant them power, or death. We've heard of this, Diana said. Bang mentioned something similar. The association calls them delusional amateurs, Fubuki said. But I felt one of those cubes once. It was not a joke. If the same force that touched those monsters can touch people too, we will have more trouble than a few giant beasts. She slid a small memory drive across the table. Unofficial reports, she said. Incidents swept under the rug. You didn't get this from me. Superman picked it up. Thank you, he said. Diana smiled. You're braver than you look, she added. Fubuki flicked her hair. Of course I am, she said. I just prefer people to underestimate me until it matters. She left the room before they could answer. Superman and Wonder Woman shared a look. It seems our hosts have layers, Diana said. Someone in this building is already playing with fire, Clark said. We need to find out who. In a dark hangar under the Association Tower, 2 sets of fire burned. One came from Genos's core, humming softly as he stood near a charging station. The other came from a projection in front of him, showing the inside of Cyborg's body, circuits, energy flows, adaptive code. This integration is beyond anything in my databanks, Genos said, studying the hologram. Your systems respond to threats in real time. No manual reconfiguration. Cyborg chuckled. You're not bad yourself, man, he said. Your heat output would make some of my villains run for cover, but your self-destruct option worries me. Genos glanced down. It is a necessary tool, he said. If I cannot defeat an enemy, I can still remove myself and them from the field. Victor frowned. That's not how a team thinks, he said. You're not a bomb. You're a person. Genos looked back at the hologram. He didn't answer. Cyborg shifted the display to show Earth from orbit. Their Earth. His Earth. The one they were now far from. Back home, we faced something like your god once, he said. A mother box signal. Dark side. Big bad who thought he owned everything. If Superman had tried to solo him forever, we'd all be dead. You are saying my fixation on revenge is flawed, Genos said. I'm saying you don't have to carry it alone, Cyborg said. You have Saitama. You have Bang. You have us now, for however long we're stuck here. Genos's eyes softened for a moment. Sensei prefers to shop alone, he said. Cyborg laughed. Yeah, Batman prefers to brood alone too, he said. Doesn't mean we let him. He sobered. Look, he said, if this god thing is real and it can hitch a ride on monsters and people, then tech alone won't stop it. Your body, my body, we're both doors it might try to open. Genos's fingers flexed. I will resist, he said. Good, Victor said, but let's also build locks together. They leaned over a console, working through possible defenses, psychic shields, anti-hacking layers, energy filters. Above them, unseen through the concrete, something old and quiet listened with faint interest. That night, Martian Manhunter sat cross-legged on the roof of the League's borrowed building. The city glowed below. Neon signs, street lamps, passing cars. He heard the thoughts of thousands, each one a small light in a vast field. He let most of them slide past. He focused instead on the deep places, storm drains, caverns, oceans, the emptiness between atoms. He reached down. A cold wind greeted him. It was not a voice exactly. It was an intent, a gaze. It flowed around his mental presence like water around a stone. You have come from far away, it said, without words. You wear the shape of a mind. You taste like hope and fear. John did not flinch. though every instinct screamed at him to pull back. "Who are you?" he sent. "What are you?" "I am what comes when people wish for more than they are," the presence replied. "I am the hand that offers power at a price. They call me God. They call me demon. It does not matter. I am the answer to a question that never ends." Images flashed through John's mind. Humans kneeling before cubes, monsters clawing at the sky, a city swallowed by a hand of shadow. He also saw, for a brief instant, Superman and Saitama. The presence lingered on the bald man, curious. "This one is wrong," it murmured. "He breaks the shape of things. He says no to my gifts without knowing I offered them." John tried to dig deeper. "You touched that monster," he sent. "You will keep trying. Why? What do you want?" The cold grew sharper. "I want what all stories want," it said. "To continue, to grow, to see what happens when a man who can end battles in one blow becomes bored enough to look up at the stars." A spike of psychic pain hit John. He gasped and snapped his mind back to his body. He fell to one knee on the roof, hand on the ground. When his head cleared, sweat beaded on his brow. "John?" Superman stood in the doorway. "I heard something. Are you—" "I am fine," John said. His voice shook once, then steadied. "But I have spoken with the thing behind the rift." Clark walked out and sat beside him, cape fluttering. "And?" he asked. John stared at the city lights. "It is not a simple force," he said. "It is not a mind we can punch. It is an offer. A story that infects other stories. It likes Saitama, and it has noticed you." Superman looked up at the stars this world had. They were almost the same as his own sky, but not quite. Slight shifts, different patterns. "I've dealt with gods and devils before," he said. "They all want something. This one wants to see what happens if we break," John said. "We must not." Superman nodded. "Then we don't," he said. He made it sound simple. John knew it would not be. Down in a private lab hidden at the edge of the city, Lex Luthor watched a different kind of light. He had stolen a small piece of the purple core when the monster exploded, using a micro-drone and a very fast grab. Now it sat in a containment field, pulsing slowly. "I know you can hear me," Lex said to the crystal. He stood in his undersuit, armor damaged and set aside for repairs. He looked tired, but his eyes were bright with interest. "You offered power to that beast," he said. "You made it adapt. You made it fight Superman to a standstill, for a moment at least. That's impressive." The crystal's light flared once, as if amused. "You're not our world's dark side," Lex went on. "You're not one of the usual suspects. You're new. That makes you dangerous. But it also makes you—" He smiled. "Useful," he finished. He lifted a small cube of his own design. It hummed as it synced with the shard. "How about we make a deal?" Lex asked. "You want to test Superman and that bald anomaly. I want to defeat them. You give some of your power to subjects I choose. I study how they change. If they win, I win. If they lose, you learn." The shard pulsed again. Lex felt a whisper in the back of his mind, a thin, cold presence, like the feeling of standing near a cliff's edge. "I accept your curiosity," it seemed to say. "Let us experiment." Lex's smile widened. "Perfect," he said. "Then I know just the sort of human trash to hand your little gifts to." He pulled up a list of criminal cells, failed villains, angry ex-heroes, and fringe cult leaders. Let's see which one breaks the right way, he thought. 2 weeks later, Saitama stared at a flyer on his fridge like it was a map to buried treasure. "Mega Sale Day," it read in huge red letters. "1 day only. Half price on meat, vegetables, and instant noodles. Location: K-City Megamart." He had circled the date 3 times, "This is it," he told Genos. "The big one." Genos stood at the table with a notebook. He had already written Megamart Sale Operation at the top in neat letters. "Understood, Sensei," he said. "We will depart early to avoid delay from possible monster attacks. I will secure transport." Saitama looked at him. "We can just take the train," he said. "The train is vulnerable to ambush," Genos said. "We should go by air. I will carry you." Saitama imagined being flown across half the country like a sack of potatoes. "Fine," he said, "but if you drop me, you're buying dinner." As they stepped outside, a red blur stopped in front of them. "Did I hear Megasale?" the Flash asked. He grinned, hands on his hips. Around him, air still vibrated from his sudden stop. Saitama blinked. "You can hear that?" he asked. "Batman made me monitor local alerts," Flash said. "You know, in case of monster clusters, energy spikes, weird cold stuff. But I also might have set an extra alert for the word sale. Don't tell him." Genos frowned. "This is not a social outing," he said. "This is a critical resupply mission." Flash nodded seriously. "I respect that," he said. Then he leaned closer to Saitama. "Do they have those little meat buns with the sauce on top?" Saitama's eyes lit a bit. "They do, actually," he said. "Last time they sold out in 10 minutes. Flash looked determined. "Then this is a high-priority mission," he said. "I'm in." Saitama smiled for real. "Okay," he said. "Let's get cheap meat." K-City looked different from Z-City. The buildings were lower, the streets were narrow. Old damage from past monster attacks showed in cracked walls and half-repaired sidewalks. People moved fast, heads down, used to alarms. As Saitama, Genos, and Flash landed near the Megamart, Flash whistled. "This place has seen some stuff," he said. Genos scanned the area. "Crime rate, high," he said. "Monster attack probability, moderate. Presence of a known hero cult." He checked his data. "Currently unknown," he finished. Saitama looked at the line of people outside the Megamart doors. "I see a long wait," he said. "We got here early, but everyone else did too." Ugh. Above them, on a rooftop, Fubuki stood with her arms folded. Her Blizzard group members watched the line as well, scanning faces. "Any sign of them?" she asked. One of her people shook his head. "No obvious cult signs," he said. "No cubes. But this city has been a hotspot for weird gatherings lately." Fubuki frowned. She had gotten word from a contact that a small cult tied to God had targeted the Megamart. They wanted to cause chaos during the sale when the place was packed. Of course they picked the biggest sale day, she thought. Monsters, gods, and people with terrible timing. She glanced at the ground. Flash was chatting with a group of kids, showing them small tricks with his speed. Genos stood like a stiff guard. Saitama yawned in the line, holding his empty bags like a warrior ready for battle. Fubuki sighed. "At least we have backup," she muttered. She didn't know that on the other side of the city, a man knelt in a dark room lit only by a cube. The cult leader's eyes shone with purple light as the artifact hummed. "Today," he whispered, "God will show this city its true power. We will break the false heroes and their false sales. We will become more." Around him, a handful of robed followers nodded, fear and excitement mixing on their faces. In a secure feed, Lex Luthor watched them through a hacked camera. "Subject 7, he said into a recorder. "Baseline, mid-level criminal, high belief in external salvation, strong anger toward the Hero Association. Good candidate for first full trial." He pressed a button. The cube's light shifted. The leader gasped as energy poured into him. Pain lanced through his body. His flesh darkened. His bones thinned and then grew back like new. His mind stretched. The whispers of God filled his head, along with faint laughter that was not his own. "Go," the presence said. "Enter the crowd. Break the story." The leader stood, trembling, and smiled a jagged smile. "At once," he said. Inside the megamart, the sale was everything Saitama had hoped for and everything he had feared. Shelves packed with meat, signs shouting 50% off, people shoving carts like battering rams. The air filled with the sound of arguments over discounts. Saitama's eyes sparkled. "Beautiful," he whispered. He grabbed a cart and charged forward. Flash shook his head in wonder. "He moves faster when there are sales," he said. Genos followed 2 steps behind, scanning faces for threat signs. He had already mapped all exits and calculated the fastest evac routes. Upstairs, on a balcony level, Fubuki and a few Blizzard Group members watched the crowd. "There," one of them said, pointing. A man in a plain jacket moved against the flow of people, not toward the shelves, but toward the center of the store. His eyes were too wide. His grip on a small box at his side was too tight. Fubuki felt a tickle in the air near him, a wrongness, like static. "Move in," she ordered. By the meat section, Saitama took a deep breath as he looked at the prices. So cheap, he thought. I could eat hot pot every night for a week. He reached for a pack of beef. The ground shuddered. The lights flickered. For a split second, everyone paused. Then the floor under the central aisle cracked like glass. Purple light sank up from the crack, not down like usual. Flash's head snapped up. "That's not normal," he said. Janos's danger sensor screamed. "Energy signature matches the rift event," he said. "Sensei, get back." Saitama held the beef pack close. "No way," he said. "I am not dropping this." The central floor caved in. People screamed as they fell. Shelves tipped. Carts rolled. Purple light spilled out in a dome. Flash grabbed 3 people in a heartbeat and yanked them clear. Janos fired rocket anchors into the ceiling and grabbed a falling support beam. Fubuki threw out her hand. A wall of psychic force caught a cluster of shoppers, holding them in mid-air above the collapse. From the hole, the cult leader rose. His body was stretched, skin smooth and too pale. His eyes glowed. Purple fire burned in cracks along his arms. The cube was now lodged in his chest like a second heart. "You cling to your sales and food," he said in a warped voice. "You should be clinging to salvation." He spread his arms. Reality bent. The world outside the megamart blurred and vanished. Windows turned into dark mirrors. The doors sealed over with flowing stone. A dome of warped space wrapped the building, cutting it off from the city. Inside, colors shifted. Aisles stretched longer than they should. The ceiling seemed farther away. Shelves twisted into jagged shapes. "Pocket dimension," Flash said, eyes wide. "We're in a pocket dimension. Great." Saitama looked around. The beef pack was still in his hands. He relaxed a little. "Okay," he said, "as long as the register still works when this is done." The cult leader floated higher, feet not touching any floor. "God has given me the power to reshape this cage," he declared. "You are all witnesses. First this store, then this city, then the world." His followers, scattered through the aisles, began to change too. Their bodies elongated, their faces warped. Lesser monsters sprouted where people had been. Janos moved to stand next to Saitama. "Sensei," he said, "this area is now unstable. We must neutralize the core as fast as possible." Fubuki spoke into her communicator. "Blizzard Group split into teams," she said. "Protect civilians. Do not engage the core target alone." She looked down at Saitama. now holding a cart full of meat, even in the chaos. "You," she shouted, "bald hero." Saitama looked up, mouth full of a sample sausage he had grabbed during the collapse. Can you at least protect that end of the aisle?" she asked. "We're spread thin." He shrugged. "Sure," he said. Flash looked between Saitama, the floating monster priest, and the twisting aisles. "I should call the others," he said. He tapped his league comm. Static hissed. "Of course the signal is jammed," he muttered. "Okay, plan B." He zipped through the aisles, grabbing the nearest heroes stuck in the pocket. A lower-ranked puncher, a guy with a whip, a lady with steel skin. He dropped them near Fubuki. "Hi," he said in a blur. "New plan. We hold the weird meat store hellscape until our friends outside crack the shell." Outside, the megamart looked like a smooth black stone sitting where a bright building had been. Green lantern hovered in the air, scanning it with the ring. "I can't pierce it," he said. "Light goes in, but it doesn't come back right. It's not just a shield. It's somewhere else." Wonder Woman's knuckles tightened on her lasso. "There are people in there," she said. "We can't just wait." Bang stood beside her, frowning. "This energy," he said. "It's like that monster. Like that cube I saw long ago. I can feel the way it pulls." Aquaman could sense nothing from the oceans here. They were too far. But he felt pressure in the air, like before a storm. Batman stepped up to the stone and pressed a device against it. Numbers flashed. "It's layered," he said. "3 folds. 1 physical, 1 energy, 1 narrative." "Come again?" Lantern asked. Batman's jaw worked. "It's reacting to how people see it," he said. "The more scared they are, the thicker it gets. For now, we can't punch through from this side." He looked at the stone. Inside he knew Flash, Saitama, Genos, and others were trapped. He hated waiting. "We find the anchor point," he said. "The place this thing is plugged into our reality. We break that. The shell falls." "You have a plan already," Wonder Woman said. "I'm working on it," Batman said. "In the meantime, we trust our people inside." He did not say out loud that one of those people could bend rules in ways even God seemed to notice. Inside, the store had become a maze. Shelves stretched in curves. Aisles looped back on themselves, trapping panicked shoppers. Monsters grown from cultists stalked the rows, their bodies made of sticky paper and glass, or raw meat and wire. Flash darted through them, leaving after images. Each time he appeared, he grabbed someone and moved them closer to Fubuki's floating safe zone. "This is like the worst Black Friday ever," he said. Genos blasted 2 meat-wrapped beasts into char-red chunks. His sensors struggled to keep up as space warped around him. "The layout is changing," he called. "The environment is hostile." Fubuki held a cluster of people in the air with one hand and threw ice shards with the other, freezing a monster mid-lunge. Sweat dotted her forehead. "If we take out the cube in his chest, can we end this?" she shouted to Genos. "In theory," he said, "if this follows the same pattern as the previous God-linked core." Saitama swung his cart like a club, smacking a paper-glass monster aside. It burst into colourful scraps. He frowned. "They're not even giving me a warm-up," he thought. He looked up at the floating cult leader again. The man's voice boomed over the store. "See how reality bends," he cried. "See how God reshapes your greed for small savings into a lesson in true value." Saitama sighed. "Hey," he called. "Some of us just want cheap food, man." The leader turned, eyes landing on Saitama. For a moment, the glow flickered. He saw not a C-class nobody, but the man who had undone the Bay Monster's beam. "Ah," the voice of God whispered inside his head. The outlier, the breaker. The leader's mouth twisted into a sharper grin. You, he said, you are the one God wishes to test. Saitama blinked. Hard pass, he said. The leader raised his hand. The floor under Saitama stretched away, turning into a long, narrow path that tilted up. The cart rolled backward. Saitama grabbed it with one hand. The path rose higher, like an escalator from hell. Shelves along the sides sprouted teeth and mouths. Whoa, Flash said from another aisle, trying to keep track of where everyone was. The whole store is moving him. Saitama planted his feet. The path tried to tilt more. It twisted in curves. Gravity shifted. Canned goods spilled like rain. Saitama didn't move. His boots dug into the fake floor with small cracks. This is annoying, he said. He adjusted his grip on the cart, then simply stepped off the path. The warped ground tried to continue under him. For a second, space bent. Then, under his heel, it snapped back to normal. The rewriting effect crumpled where he walked. The leader's eyes widened. Interesting, the God voice said again, echoing faintly through him. His steps insist on normal. He's a fixed point. Saitama walked straight toward the hovering man, ignoring the shifting geometry. Shelves bent around him, then snapped back. A mouth on a wall tried to bite him. His lazy backhand turned it into dust. Gravity reversed in one section. He simply fell the wrong way and landed feet first again. Flash watched, stunned. He's like an anchor, Flash said to himself. He says, this is how things are, and the dimension has to agree. Genos noticed too. Sensei is stabilizing the zone, he realized. His power is cancelling the anomaly. Then we clear a path for him, Fubuki said. She clenched her teeth and threw her power out in a long wave. A chunk of twisted shelf burst into normal wood again. The path to the center widened. Blizzard Group, she shouted. Focus your power behind the bald hero. Push the warp away from him. Her teammates sent bursts of wind, ice, and psychic force, not at the leader, but at the floor and air just behind Saitama. It was like they were tilting the whole maze toward his steps. He kept walking. The cult leader felt pressure. He fired a beam of purple energy from his hand. Saitama lifted the cart as a shield. The beam hit the metal and bounced, then dissipated with a crackle. My groceries, Saitama said, annoyed. He put the cart down gently, then jumped. In one leap, he reached the leader's level. The man lashed out with a twisted arm, fingers stretching like blades. Saitama ducked. A simple punch hit the man's shoulder. It didn't explode him. It just shook the structure of his body a little. The leader gasped. The cube in his chest flickered. You cannot kill God with a punch, the voice hissed through him. Maybe not, Saitama said, but I can shut you up for a while. Outside, Batman found the anchor. It was a thin line of energy running from the black stone of the Megamart into a storm drain below. A faint purple glow pulsed along it. Here, he said. Bang stood next to him. I will strike, the old man said. On my mark, Batman said. He set explosive charges along the drain, tuned to the same frequencies Cyborg had pulled from earlier readings. When this blows, hit the line, hard. Green Lantern floated overhead, ready with a shield. Wonder Woman held her lasso, prepared to yank anyone out of the fallout. Batman pressed the detonator. The charges blew. The drain shuddered. For a heartbeat, the energy line became visible, a thread of light thrumming in the air. Bang exhaled. Water stream rock smashing fist, he whispered. His hands moved so fast they blurred. Strike after strike hammered the energy thread. Each hit found a subtle point of weakness, splitting pressure. The line snapped. Inside the pocket, the whole store lurched. Flash fell, catching himself on a shelf. Fubuki's safe zone wobbled, then steadied. The walls shook. The cult leader screamed. "No," he shouted. "The anchor, you cannot." The presence inside him tugged. "This cage is no longer stable," it said. "We withdraw. Keep what you can." Purple energy tried to surge back into the cube. Saitama saw the glow pull inward. "Not this time," he said. He drove his fist into the air between them. He didn't hit the man's face or chest. He hit the space around the cube. The shockwave punched a hole in the folding layers of the pocket. For a brief second, the Megamart existed in two places at once, in the warp dimension and in the real city. Then the pocket collapsed. Glass shattered. A rain of normal, boring light returned. The shelves snapped back to their usual shape. Monsters made of paper and meat fell apart into harmless scraps. The cult leader dropped to the floor. The cube in his chest cracked. Shards of light flew out in all directions, tiny pieces of god power. Most vanished into the air, slipping through unseen cracks. One shard hit a far wall and sank in, gone. Another flew straight up, boring a tiny hole in the ceiling as it escaped. The leader lay there gasping. The glow left his eyes. He looked up at Saitama with pure terror. "What are you?" he whispered. Saitama looked down at him. "I'm a guy who wants to shop in peace," he said. "Don't do this again." The man nodded as much as his shaking neck allowed. Flash zipped up beside them, breathing hard. "Okay," he said. Pocket Hellscape store closed. Everyone alive. 7 out of 10 would not shop here again. Genos knelt beside the cube's cracked remains, scanning. "Residual energy is dispersing," he said. "Sensei, your interference prevented a full merge with our reality." Fubuki floated down from the balcony, hair messed up, sweat on her forehead. "You stabilized the whole zone just by walking through it," she said. "Do you have any idea what that means?" Saitama picked up his cart. "It means I still have to pay before I leave," he said. He pushed the cart toward the nearest working register. The cashier, shaking, beeped his items through on autopilot. Outside, the black stone shell melted away. The Megamart stood there again, windows broken, roof cracked, but real. People staggered out, blinking in the sunlight. Wonder Woman rushed forward, helping them. Green Lantern held up parts of the roof with glowing constructs. Aquaman directed water from burst pipes away from the crowd. Batman stepped inside, scanning. He saw Saitama at the register, calmly handing over money. He saw Flash leaning on a ruined shelf, panting and joking with kids. He saw Genos and Fubuki standing near the fallen cult leader, who now just looked like a terrified man. Their eyes met. Batman walked over. "You punched a hole in a pocket reality," he said to Saitama. Saitama shrugged. He was being loud, he said. Batman's mouth twitched. It was not quite a smile. "You're an anomaly," he said. "Even to monsters and gods. You break the rules when you move." "That sounds like a you problem," Saitama said. "I just live here." Batman studied him for a moment longer. Then he turned to the cult leader. "We need him alive," Batman said. "He has answers." Fubuki nodded. "Blizzard Group will handle the custody," she said. "We have underground cells." Flash walked over, chewing on a meat bun he had somehow paid for during the chaos. "So good news," he said. "The sale isn't cancelled. They're giving discounts to everyone because of the monster attack. We might have just saved people and extra money." Saitama's eyes shone. "Nice," he said. He picked up his bags. As they stepped outside, the crowd began to cheer. They cheered for the association, for the Blizzard Group, for the Justice League. Somewhere in the noise, a few voices shouted, "Bald Cape," but most did not know who exactly had done what. Saitama tugged his bags a little closer and kept walking. "Hey," Flash said, falling into step beside him. "You know, next time we do a sail run, maybe we follow a world where nothing tries to kill us between aisles." Saitama smiled. "Where's the fun in that?" he said. He didn't quite mean it, but the words came anyway. Above them, high in the sky, a tiny shard of purple light drifted. It pulsed once, then shot off toward the horizon, drawn to a new host. In his secret lab, Lex watched the readings spike. Subject 7. Partially successful, he noted. Pocket dimension creation, reality warp, clear reaction to the bald anomaly. There were side effects, but the data is good. He looked at the map of the city, now dotted with small purple marks where shards had escaped. "This world," he said, "is now seeded." He tapped a few keys, his screens filled with faces, politicians, crime lords, angry ex-heroes, even a few association staff names. "We've proven the method," he thought. "Now we scale up." In the deep place where God watched, the presence rippled. The experiment had been costly, but fun. It had learned something new. The bald man could anchor space. The alien speedster was fast even against bent time. The psychic woman could push on its fabric, if only a little. They were not all toys. Some were pieces, some were threats. It decided slowly that the next offers would be quieter, more personal, less flashy. It reached out with invisible fingers, brushing minds across the world. A hero with a grudge, a businessman with a dream, a politician with a fear. One by one, they felt a whisper at the edge of their thoughts. "You can be more," it promised, "if you pay the price." Back in K-City, Saitama opened his fridge. It was full. He smiled a small, real smile as he stacked meat packs in neat rows. For now, he thought, this is enough. He didn't know that outside, in newsrooms and boardrooms, in bunkers and caves, his name sat at the center of new plans and new fears. He just knew he finally made it to a sail without the world ending. That seemed like a good day. Far away, in the League's base, Batman updated his files. New entry, Megamart incident. Data, pocket reality collapsed by Saitama's interference. Threat, cosmic entity now aware of his stabilizing effect. He pinned a small photo of the Megamart above the board. Center of gravity, he wrote under it. Watch him. He stepped back and looked at the whole mess. Rifts, gods, cubes, monsters, cults, a bored bald hero, and a team of aliens trapped in a world that wasn't theirs. We're not done here, he thought. Not by a long shot. Weeks slipped by, but the world did not go back to normal. It made a new normal instead. Billboards in the city showed smiling heroes with shining teeth and bright capes. Some of the faces were old. A few were new. One ad had Superman and Tatsumaki back to back, with a slogan about strength without limits. Saitama walked past that one on his way home with groceries. He looked up at his own reflection in the glass behind the poster. No one had put his face on anything. That was fine. He would not know how to pose anyway. The weight of the grocery bags cut into his fingers. He liked that feeling. It was simple and real, not like gods, rifts, and pocket dimensions. He passed a small TV in a shop window. The news was on. A calm voice spoke over pictures of rebuilt streets. Thanks to cooperation between the Hero Association and the Justice League, response times to major threats have improved by 17%. In other news, monster-related insurance claims. Saitama yawned and kept walking. His life on the surface had not changed much. He woke up. He did simple training when he felt like it. He took hero calls when the association sent him minor jobs. He went shopping. He made hot pot or ramen. He played games. He went to bed. Underneath, something was different. The monsters felt heavier now. Even when they were small, he could sense a strange weight inside some of them, like a knot of cold in warm water. When he punched them, that knot sometimes flew out as a faint light and vanished. He did not like that feeling. It made fights feel less like annoying chores and more like unfinished homework. He turned the corner to his building. On the roof, Janos sat with a laptop, watching something. He looked up as Saitama came in. "Sensei," he said, "welcome back. Did you get the noodles we like?" "Yeah," Saitama said, lifting a bag. "They were on sale, 2 for 1. Gino stood up. "Excellent," he said. "The Justice League requested a meeting tonight at the new base. They wish to speak to you in private." Saitama kicked off his shoes. "Me?" he asked. "What did I do?" "You destabilized 2 events tied to the god entity," Gino said. "You exist at the center of all major recent incidents. They are concerned." Saitama made a face. "I just wanted cheap meat," he said. "Be that as it may," Gino said. "They see you as a key factor. They want to discuss your role." Saitama opened the fridge and stuffed the groceries inside. The shelves were full now. That always made him a little calm. "Fine," he said at last. "We'll go after dinner." The new base was a strange mix. Part of it came from the watchtower, curved metal, advanced screens, alien alloys. Part came from the Hero Association, clean white walls, big logos, security cameras. It sat on the edge of Z City, half fortress, half office building. Saitama, Janos, and Bang walked through a scanner that beeped as they passed. Cyborg checked the screen. "All clear," he said. "No weird cubes this time." Bang nodded. "Good," he said. "I've had my fill of gods sneaking into the tea." Saitama looked around. "Nice place," he said. "Where's the snack bar?" Flash popped up beside him. "Right this way," he said. "Well, after the serious talk, they've got fruit trays and tiny sandwiches and everything. Batman hates them." Saitama sighed. Of course, he thought. Serious talk first. They entered a round room with a large table in the center. Windows showed the city and a slice of sea beyond it. Superman stood by the glass, arms folded loosely. Wonder Woman sat in one chair. Batman stood behind another, cape draped like a shadow. Martian Manhunter, Aquaman, Green Lantern, and Cyborg were there too. A few S-class heroes, including Tatsumaki and Fubuki, leaned on the walls. Saitama felt like he had walked into a school meeting he was not ready for. Superman turned and smiled. "Thank you for coming," he said. "Please sit." Saitama dropped into a chair and slouched. Janos stayed standing behind him like a guard. Bang sat nearby, calm as always. Batman tapped a control. A hologram flickered to life above the table. It showed the 2 big events, the Bay Monster and the Mega Mart. In both, Saitama's punch appeared as a bright flash that cut through chaos. "We've been studying what happens when you fight," Batman said. Saitama grimaced. "That sounds creepy," he said. "It is also necessary," John said gently. "We face a force that changes reality. Your power pushes back against it." Superman pointed to a set of lines. "When that entity takes hold, the rules bend, space twists, time cracks, but when you move, those bends snap back. You're like a weight that keeps the story from floating away." Saitama frowned. "I don't really get all that," he said. "I just hit things until they stop being a problem. Tatsumaki snorted. "And that apparently breaks gods," she said. "Not bad, Baldy." Fubuki gave her sister a warning look. "We're not here to tease him," she said. "We're here to decide what we do from here." Bang folded his hands. "The question is simple," he said. "Do we treat Saitama as a normal hero, living his life, or as a special shield we drag to every battle tied to this god?" Jano stiffened. "Sensei is not a tool," he said. "He is a person." Batman met his eyes. "We know," he said. "We're not here to chain him. We're here to ask him." All eyes turned to Saitama. He scratched his cheek, feeling very seen and not liking it. "So you want me to be your anti-god weapon," he said slowly. "Just whenever." Superman shook his head. "We want to be honest with you," he said. "Whether we stay in this world for a long time or find a way home, this entity will keep trying. It will keep offering power to monsters and people. We can fight it, but none of us cancel it out like you do." He sat down across from Saitama. "You don't owe anyone anything," Clark said. "You've already saved countless people. If you decide you just want to live your life and punch whatever happens to cross your path, we'll respect that. But if you want, we can build a plan together. Patrols, response teams, safeguards around you, so you don't face this alone." Saitama looked at the table. He thought about quiet mornings, about empty streets at sunrise, about the smooth feel of a new game controller, about the sound of meat sizzling in a pan. He thought about the crush of people in the megamart, the way the world twisted, the fear in that cult leader's eyes, the way Genos nearly burned himself out trying to save strangers. He thought about boredom. Ever since he broke his limit, normal fights were like brushing his teeth, necessary but dull. Even so, when he had seen that purple beam coming down on the bay, something inside him had woken up for a second. It had felt like a real threat, and when he had punched it away for a heartbeat, he had felt something like satisfaction. He sighed. "I don't mind punching stuff," he said. "It's what I do, but I'm not a planner. I'm not a leader. If you want to do all that big picture stuff around me, fine. Just don't schedule me like a machine." Flash grinned. "You hear that?" he said. "The universe's strongest man wants flex time." Batman ignored him. "We can work with that," he said. "We keep our sensors tuned for God-type events. When they spike, we contact you. We make sure getting you there doesn't cost you your life outside of hero work." Saitama gave a short laugh. "Life outside of hero work," he said. "That's just sales and rent." "Those matter," Superman said softly. "Those are why we fight." Bang smiled a little. "This is a good path," he said. "You are not being drafted. You are choosing. That makes you a hero, not a weapon." Tatsumaki rolled her eyes. "As long as he shows up when it counts," she said. "I'm not lifting cities by myself for fun." Fubuki nodded. "We will coordinate with the League," she said. "My group will monitor cult activity. If any new cubes appear, Saitama will hear about it before anyone else." Janos relaxed a bit. "I will create new support protocols," he said. "Battle plans, safe zones, emergency extraction routes." Saitama waved his hands. Whoa, he said. "Let's not get too crazy. I just agreed to maybe show up. Don't turn it into homework." Flash leaned on the back of his chair. "We'll keep it light," he said. "Punch things. Save people. Catch sales when we can. That's the mission statement." The room eased a little. Even Batman's shoulders seemed to drop half an inch. Outside the window, the city lights blinked. Under the streets, in secret labs, in cult hideouts, the seeds Lex had planted began to sprout. But inside this room, for a moment, there was a simple thing: agreement. Later that night, Saitama walked home alone. He had turned down the offer to stay and eat with the others. Big group meals felt strange to him. Too many eyes, too many people asking questions. The streets were quiet. Neon signs hummed. Somewhere, a cat knocked over a trash can. The sky was clear, small stars peeking through the city glow. He stuffed his hands in his pockets and breathed out, watching his breath fog a little. "You are very calm," a voice said. Saitama stopped. He turned his head. No one was there. The street was empty. The corners were empty. The windows above showed closed curtains. The voice came again, but not through his ears. It slid along his skin, like a cold breeze from inside him. "You are very calm," it repeated. "Most minds scream when I speak to them. Yours is quiet." Saitama frowned. "You're that god thing, huh?" he said. "The one with the cubes." Silence, then a low, amused feeling. "You name me that god thing," it said. "Others call me the ultimate being, the source, the hand that can give them everything they dream of. You call me a thing." Saitama scratched the back of his head. "Kind of hard to respect someone who keeps wrecking my shopping," he said. A slow pressure wrapped around his thoughts. It did not hurt. It was like being shown a picture. In front of him, the street changed. In one blink, he stood on a rocky plain under a purple sky. In the next, he stood on a ruined city street where giant monsters fought giants in armor. Then a world made of crystal, a world of endless ocean, a world with two suns. Each one shook with battles. "You are bored," the presence said. "You broke your own limits. Now nothing here challenges you. I can offer you more." The images sped up. In each he fought. Sometimes he wore different clothes. Sometimes he had scars that faded as he watched. Sometimes he stood alone against whole armies. "You could walk from universe to universe," the presence said. "Never run out of enemies. Never run out of tests. Endless fights. Endless purpose." Saitama watched. It did seem interesting. His heart beat a little faster. He imagined fights that lasted more than a second. Enemies that made him work. Foes he had to dodge, plan for, respect. Then he thought of something else. He pictured his cheap apartment, the peeling paint, the couch, the little TV, the friction of the floor under his bare feet, Genos fussing in the kitchen, Bang dropping by with snacks, Flash talking too fast, Superman sitting on his balcony once, staring into the distance and asking about this world's writing system with honest curiosity. He thought of his fridge full of food, of sale flyers, of the way the city smelled after rain. He scratched his cheek. "You're offering me a job," he said. "Full-time fight guy. No days off." "I am offering you meaning," the presence said. "You were made to fight. You trained. You tore apart your limits. Why waste that on grocery runs and silly rankings?" Saitama shrugged. "I like grocery runs," he said. "I like silly rankings. They're normal." The presence pulsed. "I can make you more," it insisted. "More than human. More than this world. More than any god. Just say yes and..." "No," Saitama said. He did not shout. He did not focus. He just said it, the same way he'd say he did not want extra sauce. The purple sky vanished. He stood on his street again, under a normal night sky. The cold pressure recoiled, like a hand slapped away. For the first time, the presence felt something like surprise. "Why?" it asked, the word raw. Saitama looked up. He could not see it. He knew it did not really live in the sky, but he looked anyway. "I got strong because I wanted to be a hero," he said, "not because I wanted to be your toy." He started walking again. "I'll fight when you throw stuff at this world," he added, "because people live here, because I live here. But I'm not going on some endless tour just because you're bored. I know what that feels like. It sucks." The presence hissed without sound. "You will regret this," it said. "One day you will look up at another rift and realize you could have been out there, free." Saitama shrugged. "Maybe," he said. "But then who would cook dinner?" He turned the corner and walked out of range. The presence followed him for a moment, testing. Then it stopped. It could push monsters. It could whisper to weak minds. It could tempt greedy hearts. But this man's boredom was not a hole it could fill. It was a wall. It pulled back, deeper into its own place. "If he will not come to me," it thought, "then I will come to him in other ways, through others." The game changed, but it did not end. In the base, Superman felt a small shiver. He stood in front of a large, transparent map of this world, dotted with colored markers. Green for cleaned-up threats, yellow for strange sightings, purple for God-linked events. One purple dot flared on the edge of the city, near Saitama's route home. The flare was tiny. It rose, then vanished. John looked up from a console. "Did you feel that?" he asked. "Yes," Superman said. Batman checked a readout. "No lasting energy spike," he said. "Whatever it was, it ended." Superman stared at the map a little longer. He thought of Saitama's tired eyes, of the way the man had stared out the window during their talk, as if looking for something he could not name. He smiled, just a little. "He made a choice," Clark said. Diana stepped closer. "You sound certain," she said. Superman nodded. "I've seen that look before," he said. "In soldiers who leave the field, in heroes who decide to come back, in kids who turn down bad offers. It's small, but it's real." Batman crossed his arms. "He refused direct contact with an entity that can twist minds," he said. "That's reassuring." "It also should not make us lazy," John said. "Others will not refuse so easily." Batman pointed at the purple dots on the map. "Exactly," he said. "We don't know who else that thing has already talked to." In a tiny corner, Lex Luthor's lab did not show up as purple. His genius had given him just enough shielding to hide that link. Metal Knight's bunker did not glow either. His machines filtered energy in ways that confused the League's sensors. The board was full of pieces the heroes could not see yet. Superman put a new marker on the map anyway. A small, plain marker for a plain place. Saitama's neighborhood. "Just so we remember," he said. Batman didn't object. Days turned into another week. The League settled into a pattern. They patrolled. They helped with rebuilding. They trained with S-class heroes, learning each other's moves. They built new communication lines, shared tactics, and slowly earned some public trust. Some nights, crowds gathered under screens to cheer when the League appeared. Other nights, protesters raised signs that said things like "No Sky Gods" and "Homegrown Heroes Only." Superman listened to both. Batman watched the second group a bit closer. Tatsumaki argued loudly with Green Lantern about who could lift more weight. She won by a lot. Wonder Woman sparred with Atomic Samurai and Bang, trading techniques. Flash raced Speedo Sound Sonic down a highway and laughed when the ninja cursed him. Cyborg and Genos worked on new defense programs against God Energy. They made some progress, but not as much as they wanted. John checked psychic fields for new cults. He found whispers, but no big gatherings yet. Metal Knight tested new drones in distant deserts, sending some near old monster sites. He captured strange readings, filed them away, and kept quiet. Lex sent more cubes to more hands, but carefully, slowly. He wanted stronger subjects, but he also wanted to map all the ways God power could manifest. The Hero Association enjoyed the boost in ratings. Their posters showed strong faces. Their reports played up wins, softened losses, and left out near disasters. They barely mentioned how close the Megamart incident had come to turning into a permanent wound in reality. They did not mention the bald man at all. Chinos noticed. Fubuki noticed. Bang noticed. Saitama did not check the reports. He checked his fridge instead. If it was full, he felt like things were okay. If it was empty, he went out. One evening, the League met without cameras or guests. They sat in a circle in the base's war room. The map dimmed. Only a soft light lit the table. Cyborg showed a timeline. "We've stabilized this world, for now," he said. "Threats are still coming, but we're handling them fast. No new rifts. No major god events since the Megamart." Green Lantern frowned. "But we haven't advanced on finding a way home," he said. "I can't scan for our universe's coordinates. The rift residue has faded." John folded his hands. "The entity now knows what we can do," he said. "It is changing its approach. That means it will take longer to find its patterns." Aquaman stared at the table. He had spent time in this world's oceans. They were wounded from past monster attacks, but alive. "I have people back home," he said. "A kingdom, duty. But these seas also have voices. They were glad when monsters stopped tearing them open. If we leave too soon." Diana nodded. "The people here did not ask for gods and off-world heroes either," she said. "Yet they have them now, us. We changed their story by landing here." "We can't stay forever," Flash said. "Can we? I mean, I like the meat buns and the weird hero names as much as anyone. But I still have a job back home. Friends, my own villains, as dumb as that sounds." Superman looked at each of them. "Our choice is not easy," he said. "But we do have one. We can pour all our effort into getting home as fast as possible and let this world handle its own mess. Or we can split our strength, keep protecting here, while slowly looking for a safe path back." Batman's voice was quiet. "If we rush the return," he said, "we'll make mistakes. We could tear another hole like the first one, or open a door God can use to reach our world." Cyborg moved a cursor between return now and stay forever, then stopped in the middle. "We don't leave right away," he said, "but we don't give up on home either. We work both problems, protection and passage." John nodded. "I can search for psychic echoes of our own universe," he said, "the way a lost person listens for familiar songs." Lantern tapped his ring. "I can file a long-distance report to the Corps," he said. "Slow message, very slow, but it might reach someone someday." Flash sighed. "Guess I'm not getting my old coffee anytime soon," he said. Then he smiled. "But hey, new world, new diners." They all looked at Superman. He was the one people always looked at, whether he wanted it or not. "I vote we stay," he said. "Not forever, but long enough to leave this place better than we found it. Long enough to make sure God doesn't win a huge move while we look away." He thought of Saitama, standing alone on that warped store floor, punching a hole in reality and then worrying about the register. "He didn't walk away," Clark said. "We shouldn't either." No one argued. The choice was made. The new status in their minds was simple: protect this world like it was home, while searching for a bridge back to the real one. If they found it too early, they would stop and check twice. If they never found it, well, they would deal with that when it came. Gissy, the months that followed, stories grew. Kids in playgrounds pretended to be the sky heroes. Some chose Superman, some chose Flash. A few chose the Tornado of Terror. One kid always chose to be the bald guy who ends it in one hit, even though no toy company made a figure of him. Cult whispers grew quieter but deeper. A politician woke one night with a cube at the foot of his bed, heart pounding with a sudden idea for order. A broken-down hero, tired of being overlooked, heard a voice offering him the power to matter. A small-time thief reached for a shard in a gutter and felt his veins burn. Not all of them said yes. Some did. Lex watched each small surge, tracking winners and losers, adjusting his math. Metal Knight sent drones to record random monster mutations, learning how god energy mixed with flesh and steel. The Hero Association continued to count points. The stories tangled. At the center sat a man in a yellow suit who still had to worry about rent. He did not see the whole web. He saw only his tiny part, monsters, sales, genos, and sometimes a blue-caped man smiling awkwardly as he tried instant noodles for the first time. The game was big, but it still came down, in the end, to small choices, like saying no to a god and yes to dinner. The pot on Saitama's stove bubbled gently. He sprinkled in seasoning with a lazy hand. Steam fogged the tiny kitchen. The table was crowded with bowls and glasses that did not match. Gino set out chopsticks with military precision. Flash sat already, drumming his fingers on the cheap wood. "Smells amazing," he said. "You sure I can't pay you rent to live here?" "No," Saitama said. "You eat too fast. You'd bankrupt me." There was a knock at the door. Genos opened it. Superman ducked a little to come in. The room seemed to shrink around him. His suit looked out of place next to the peeling paint, but he smiled anyway. "Hope I'm not too late," he said. "Right on time," Saitama said. "Grab a seat." Cyborg squeezed in behind him, carrying a small box. "I brought dessert," he said. "Best I could find on short notice." Bang arrived a moment later with a bag of snacks. Fubuki followed, arms folded like she was here by accident. She was not. Tatsumaki hovered outside the window, pretending she did not want to come in, until Fubuki glared her into the room. John phased through the wall politely. The hallway was crowded, he said. In a corner, Batman leaned against the wall, half in shadow. No one had seen him come in. He held a cup of tea someone had forced into his hand. The apartment was too small for this many people. They made it work. People sat on the floor, on crates, on the one couch. Superman awkwardly folded his long legs to avoid knocking over the table. Saitama ladled soup into bowls and passed them around. "This is a terrible idea," Tatsumaki muttered, but she took her bowl. Flash tasted the broth and made a happy noise. Around them, the city's noise filtered in. Car horns, distant sirens, kids shouting somewhere on a nearby street. The TV in the corner played with the sound off. The screen showed a news ticker about interdimensional cooperation and ongoing investigations into God-related incidents. Nobody looked at it. They talked instead. Flash told a funny story about outrunning a monster that turned everything it touched into gum. Fubuki complained about paperwork. Genos asked Cyborg detailed questions about energy efficiency. Bang laughed at a memory of his wild youth. Superman shared a simple story about his first day at the Daily Planet, leaving out the parts with aliens. Batman said very little, but he listened. Saitama mostly chewed. At one point, Superman spoke up. "In our world," he said, "people sometimes ask why we keep going. Why we keep fighting when there's always another threat, another Lex, another Darkseid, Another disaster. He looked around the room. I think this is why, he said. Because we get to sit like this once in a while. Eat, talk, laugh. Have something to protect that isn't just a planet. It's a moment. Saitama slurped his noodles. You talk a lot, he said. But, yeah, that makes sense. Flash raised his chopsticks. To moments, he said. They tapped their bowls in a rough, messy toast. For a few minutes, the world outside could have been peaceful. Of course it wasn't. In a far corner of the city, a man stared too long at his own reflection and saw purple in his eyes. In a cave, a cube pulsed where no hero knew to look. On a distant moon, a god-shaped shadow watched, still amused, still interested. The Hero Association added a new category to their reports that week. Interdimensional threat level, with a scale the public did not fully understand. Some kids drew pictures of the sky heroes and taped them to their walls. Some adults watched the sky, waiting for the next crack. On the League's base, silent alarms watched for purple noise in data streams. In a bunker, Lex smiled over new numbers. In a hidden hangar, Metal Knight finished another drone. Stories refused to end. Back in the tiny apartment, Saitama got up to grab more noodles. As he passed the window, he looked out. The city lights spread in every direction. 2 logos glowed in neon on distant towers. The Hero Association's emblem, and the new symbol the Justice League had shared, now painted in blue and red. From up high, they were just shapes. From down here, they were part of the view. Saitama scratched his cheek. Life goes on, he thought. He turned back to the table. Who wants seconds? He asked. Hands went up. The god in the dark took note. The board was crowded with players now. Heroes, villains, mortals, off-worlders. One bored man with a punch that made reality flinch. It did not know how this story would end. That was fine. It had all the time it needed. Down on the street, Saitama's window glowed warm against the night. The world outside was still dangerous. Caverns still held whispers. Seas still hid scars. The sky might still tear open any day. But inside that little room for now, there was hot food, tired laughter, and a man who had told a god no and meant it. The universe shifted around that small fact. Then it kept turning.